Hi, this is Haley and we're in the kitchen with KinderCare Cooks. We're all about cooking healthy meals and snacks that taste amazing, even for your pickiest eaters. Today's recipe, we're going to be featuring fruit kabobs with a nut butter yogurt dip that kids really love. And it's an easy, great recipe to start with getting your kids in the kitchen. We feature this nut butter yogurt dip in our centers and pair it with vegetables like carrots and celery sticks or chopped apples. At KinderCare, we use sunflower seed butter in place of nut butter because our centers are nut-free. Spending time cooking with your kids in the kitchen can sound really daunting. I know as a mother of 3 young children, I remember those really busy evenings where you're trying to put a meal on the table, but it can be a really stressful time, and the last thing you might be thinking is, oh, I'm gonna bring my kids in the kitchen with me. But there's so many great, amazing benefits to bringing your kids in the kitchen, and we're gonna be talking about some of those benefits today. We're also going to be talking about establishing a repeatable cooking practice and skill building, including safe knife skills and how to tell if your child is ready. Let's start with establishing repeatable cooking practices. Good cooking always starts with hand washing. Just simple soap and water. Make sure your kids get in there, wash their hands so that they're ready to begin cooking. Secondly, I wanted to introduce the concept of mise en place. Mise en place is a French term which means in its place. This concept is really helpful for you when working with your kids in the kitchen because you've talked through the plan and you've really set your kids up for success. One of the last steps of mise en place is getting all of your ingredients prepared. This is where your kids can really help out. I just have a simple colander here and they can wash your fruit. They can get it all ready to go. They can cut off the tops of the strawberries. They can peel bananas. So for the fruit kabobs, it's really your choice. You can pick any fruit here. We brought all the rainbow of colors in today, which is a great way of getting your kids thinking about eating the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Pick fruits that you know your children like, but think about incorporating one new fruit that they haven't tried yet. I wanted to introduce you to Claire and Shane, and they're going to be making this recipe in their home, and we'll be checking in with them to see how their progress is going. Let's dive into the recipe. This is where that skill building really comes into play. When you're working with young kids, some of the easiest skills for them to learn are pouring, mixing, and mashing. This first skill is pouring. Have your child measure out the yogurt. We're doing a 1-to-1 mix of the nut butter with yogurt. It doesn't matter whether you use a 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup, just kind of getting that 1-to-1 mix is important. Doesn't have to be measured perfectly. This isn't baking. Have your child pour it into the bowl. Again, that pouring is one of those skills that we're working on. One of the great benefits to having your kids cooking in the kitchen is that you're raising adventurous eaters. Children are more likely to be accepting of new foods when they've had a hand in creating that food. They're going to be working with that new item, and that means they're much more likely to try it. At KinderCare, we use an unsweetened yogurt so we can control the amount of sugar in kids' diets. But to make it more flavorful and palatable for kids, we're going to be adding a little bit of vanilla just to add that really nice sweet flavor. Working with teaspoons is something kids like to do. They're just kind of a fun little implement. And then we're going to be adding a little bit of cinnamon just for some really nice flavor. So have your child pour that into the bowl. And then we're working on that next skill, which is mixing. So let your child just have fun, stirring that all together until it's incorporated. And what you're left with is a very simple nut butter yogurt dip. So a lot of times when you're working with one child in the kitchen, you may be wondering, what do I do if I have multiple kids in my household? One of the things you can do with little kids, sometimes as early as 18 months up to 2 years, is just having them pour. Ask them to fill it all the way full or fill it halfway full. So same thing goes with mixing. Just let them have all kinds of fun with that. Bananas are a great skill building technique. Give them a fork or a potato masher and just let them go to town just mashing that banana. Get them used to using measuring cups and spoons. You can really have a lot of fun with this. Once we have those early first skills of pouring, mixing, and mashing down, we're ready to move on to some other skills. So a lot of parents might wonder, when is the right time to start introducing knife skills to your children? Well, every child is different. They all develop differently, and so you really are looking for signs that they're ready. Most importantly, your child should have a natural curiosity about wanting to start. Optimism is a good sign. Fearfulness means that they're probably not ready to start. What we have here is we've got a wood cutting board. You don't have to use wood, you can use plastic, but when you have a slick countertop surface, it's nice to have a little, this is just shelf paper, and what it does is it allows your cutting board to not slip around, so when your child's working with a knife, you want a nice stable surface. And then we've got a couple different tools here I'd like to show you guys. These are kid-safe knives, and really they're just meant to not cut flesh, but they can cut through most fruits and vegetables. So that's one option for you. If you don't have those, a regular butter knife is fine. A lot of parents might wonder, well, what should I start them with? I think a piece of bread is a great place to start. It's soft, you can use a butter knife, you can use a kid-safe knife. Parents can help their kids by doing the hand-over-hand technique. So what that looks like is your child would learn to grip the knife with an overhand grip, thumb on one side, finger on the next, and you'd place your hand over top of them. And the motion is tip down and then forward. So you can just work with your child to do hand over hand until they get that technique down. The next thing in order for your child to be safe is really learning how to work with fruit that is unstable or vegetables that are unstable. So I want to demonstrate with an apple. Because it's round and you try and cut it, it can move all around and that can set up a dangerous situation. So have your child always start by making a cut in half. Cut sides go down on the cutting board, which makes that fruit now stable. It's not rolling around anymore. And that also works with vegetables. So from there, the next cut is from a stable position. So now that we've worked a little with a child's knife, I'm gonna return to my adult knife. So making sure that your child is ready before they're transitioning to an adult knife. We've got some strawberries, and these are a great fruit because again, they're nice and unstable. They can be somewhat hard to cut for kids. Cooking and learning go hand in hand. Ask questions that encourage critical thinking. Take advantage of this time to share some nutrition information. Through repetition, these mini educational moments can help lay the foundation for creating lifelong healthy habits. So now we're really ready to start building those kabobs. We've got these wooden skewers, which we want to make sure that your child is ready to use these and that they're not using them as daggers. You can talk about counting here, you can talk about shapes, colors. It's a great time to talk about those little nutrition tidbits. If your child is really young, I think it's great to just have them use no sticks or kabobs and just have fun with shapes and the fruit on the plate. You could have them make smiley faces. They can really create anything they like without using any of the sharp tools. And then as soon as they get their skewer full, you might want to just have them lay them out on a plate so they can see all those beautiful colors. And then the fun part is taking them all off the skewer again and trying to dip them in this really tasty nut butter yogurt dip. As children develop new skills, they will be more likely to want to try another cooking activity. As their skills grow, you'll start to notice that you have a kitchen helper. And of course, they make great taste testers too. So I hope today sparked some really great ideas for you, and we covered a lot of the benefits of bringing your kids into the kitchen with you. If you liked this recipe for fruit kabobs with nut butter yogurt dip, hit subscribe so you don't miss our next kid-friendly dish. Leave a question or comment below, and we'll see you next time.